And we're live on the show tonight. Tonight, I should play some music, but everybody's getting banned every time they play a little ditty. So I don't want to get banned, man. I don't want. I fear the wrath of YouTube. You know. So whatever, man. Hope you guys had a relatively good week. I think that things are happening. I think that people are reacting to things that are happening, and I think that people are normally overreacting to things that are happening because that's people. And then the media, the broad scope media, mainstream media, is in business to capture you and your attention. To do that, they will race bait, hate bait, scare bait, whatever they can do to frighten you to get you to watch. And then you ever notice how they string it along from their so the when they start off, they call it their A block. So the A block, they talk about the deaths. This person died, that person died. And then before they go to break, and then later, the issue that's going to make or break your life. Tune in when we come back, and then they keep milking that on, all the way to the end, and usually some BS thing. And they've been doing that for years. And if you're surprised at that, it means you haven't been paying attention to what they do. It's not exactly news, it's bait, right? So I grew up in a news reading house. We had three newspapers coming to the home, and New York Times had the Newsday and the Daily News. One, two, three. Sunday was the big newspaper day, big newspapers like this. And then full of information, man. We used to love just tearing through, people sharing whatever, talking about the articles and the stories. News now is different. News now is more compact, and it's about advertising and fueling the money that they make. So follow the money. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't watch any news anymore because it doesn't do me any good. I know what's going on in the world. I have my sources of information. I know what's happening, and those sources aren't adulterated with opinion. I don't care what someone's opinion. The hell difference it make to me? You're going to tell me your opinion, or just tell me the news? So it was news in your opinion. Whatever, man. I can tell you this about the news. It's unchanged since the whole time I grew up, since all the decades in between. It's always the same stories, the same troubles, the same places, the same issues, the same. So nothing new under the sun. I don't have to worry about that. It's more about the daily grind, the daily battle, and how you are trying to exist in this world. It's hard, man. I talk to a lot of people who lose, I'm a volunteer grief counselor, people who lose loved ones. It's always a hard conversation, always a different conversation, but always with the same conclusion. It's when someone just tells you that your loved one died, you know, and it depends what kind of support you have around you. You know, I mean, like, speaking from experience, when my mom died 4 years ago, I didn't have support. Like, I had friends who reached out to me, and that was good, but not from family. Do you know what I mean? I got my sister, and she and I hadn't talked for a long time. We do now, but you know, it it creates a void, a gigantic, massive void, and it just takes all your emotions and all the stuff that you had and sucks it down into that hole. So hole of a void. So when you talk to people and they lost a loved one, and you did too, you both kind of have an understanding of what each other has felt and gone through, because it's not a unique feeling necessarily, because it's that loss, right? So you got to go forward, because the people you love, They don't want you to suffer. They don't want you to feel bad for them. They'd probably be really upset. You're not dancing on the grave, but at the same time, you don't want to sit there and wallow in your own misery and grief. Grief is a very low point to your existence. It creates negative vibes, man. I mean, I should pull up my pyramid for you. Where's my pyramid? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me find this stupid thing. But I kind of feel like in the end, all is forgiven in a weird way. And that's very Native American. In the end, all is forgiven, right? Is it? I got some strong feelings, man. You know, there's people that abuse me in my life. I don't think I have forgiven myself in that realm, but I don't know, man. Forgive people, but forgiveness is part of it, right? I mean, that's part of our growth. Put this up on the screen for y'all. There you go. So this, right? Make it bigger. Make it bigger. Okay. Okay. All right. Levels of consciousness. So you see the top level, log from 600 to 1,000, is peace. Being at peace. Sometimes you can't be at peace. Sometimes peace is hard to obtain. It depends on how far you can go in understanding that sometimes you have to be a lion to live like a lamb. So peace comes at a price, a big one, huge price. But it's nice when we can achieve it. It's nice when you can feel that level. And I'm of the mindset where if like whenever I feel like everything is going good, that's when everything messes up. If like you say to yourself, man, everything's pretty damn good right now. Nope. There's that part of life, that part of the universe that just yanks out the chair from underneath you and says, nope, stupid. It's not. Here's a whole bunch of more shit you got to go through. So peace, if you can find it, if you can afford it, if you can, you don't have to be rich to have peace. There are people, the monks, they say that they're at peace. So it really comes down to the individual. It comes down to your environment, and it comes down to you inside. To be peaceful inside, that's the thing. Environments can change. You could buy an RV and live wherever you want to live. Environments can change. But inside, are you peaceful? Ask yourself right now, do you achieve peace? How often do you achieve peace? I mean, the simple, quiet moments. But some people find peace in chaos. I'm one of those people. I could do that very easily. But I could also find peace in the serene scenes and listen to the little peep frogs outside or whatever. I had a bear here the other night eating from my bird feeder. Big freaking like 500-pound bear. Cute son of a bitch. Cute. And it gives you a weird feeling. It gives you like a feeling of like there's a bear outside. 500-pound bear, 5 feet from my glass doors. Let me show you, man. You see? I'm going to show you a picture of the bear. You see the bear? The bear. I don't know. And yeah, I know there's bears around here. And all the years I've lived around in upstate New York, I have never, ever, never seen a bear here. In the Adirondacks, we used to go to the dump, and then you see the bears at the dump doing their thing. And that's like totally different. I've seen bears in zoos and stuff like that, but never, ever, never 5 feet from my door eating bird seed. And he had giant paw. Paw was like twice the size of the bird feeder, being real gentle, kind of just shaking out the seeds, which tells me that the bear is not stupid. The bear knows if it destroys the bird feeder, it ain't going to get any more seeds out of it. So, pretty cool. And I love nature. I love all of God's creatures, man. We're all interconnected, man. I feel it. I feel animals. I feel them. I feel like I feel what they feel. And there's like a mutual connection always since I was a kid. Never has not been, you know? So, sometimes, and it's weird because I was just sitting at my desk, which is next to the door, and I felt like something big was around. It was a really weird feeling because usually I'm the biggest thing around. So I felt like something big was around. And I'm like, what the hell is that? It was a freaking bear. That's what it was. I looked outside. I didn't see my bird feeders. I'm like, what? Then the cat goes over and looks out the window and he walks away with his tail between his legs. I've never seen that. This cat will, yeah, you. This cat will jump in the window for lightning storms or sirens going by. If he ever hears one, the cat will. If I'm watching The Sopranos or something like that, well, people screaming and getting shot and whatever, the cat will be sleeping with a big smile on his face. So he's kind of a rare breed. There's possums, there's raccoons, there's skunks, there's every kind of critter out there that comes around and he wants to attack them, man. Your raccoon walks past, he runs to attack it through the glass. But the bear kind of scared him straight. he was like, whoa. And my attitude was pretty light. I was like, ooh, look at the bear. But still, I was like, holy shit, this is big. I'll put that picture up again in a minute, but man, yeah, the sucker was big. So anyway, so what's the second level on the peace? You're talking about joy, gratitude, and love. The things that can bring you peace, showing love, getting love, right? Gratitude. And not just for people doing something, does something for you, whatever. Yeah, definitely be grateful. I don't know about those tip jars on the counters, man. I just went and picked up some pizza and they have a tip jar. It makes me rethink even doing business. It sounds weird. It's not a sit down and serve business. Like you just pick it up and, they're getting paid to do their job. I don't mind tipping like you're in a restaurant, you're being served or whatever the situation, bar, whatever you're being served, whatever someone's doing that kind of activity, especially if they do a great job, you want to tip them well. It's called a gratuity because that's what it is, right? You're grateful for what they're doing and you want to give them a little extra. Now, tipping is mandatory in most places, 18, 20%, even more. A group of more 6 people, they want 25% mandatory. So it's gotten really out of control, But now, it used to be you go into a business and there was a can there, a jar, people put money in for some kind of cause, muscular dystrophy or whatever the cause, right? Now, you don't see that anymore. They don't exist. Now it's all about tipping, give us money. The cashier wants you to give them money for ringing them up and picking up your item, So it's gotten really out of hand. But anyway, gratitude, being grateful for your existence, being grateful to God. Thank you for everything you've given me. And thank you for everything I'm about to receive. It's that simple. Do you say that? Do you say that you're a creator? Keeping your positive attitude and those good things will come. Man, if you're the type of person that thinks that, hey, your thoughts and your feelings create the world around you, which they certainly do. That's the kind of thing that's why people are even Oprah Winfrey and all these people are getting into this whole gratitude thing, and but it's not a fad. It's not something you should just kind of come upon because of a few billionaires doing it or whatever they are. You know what I mean? It's It's self-respect. You work hard. It's self-respect, right? And you're grateful for that. You're grateful for the talents that you've been given. Grateful for being able to work hard, being able to afford the things that you have, being able to be what you want to be. In America, you can be whatever you want to be. There's no limit. There's no limit. Whatever. I mean, whatever you want to be, you can achieve those goals. But that's gratitude, and then joy. Experiencing joy. Right? Being kind to people can give you joy. It gives me joy. I like it. I like helping people. I'm a somebody who enjoys helping others, especially if they're in distress, because and it's a selfish feeling actually, because I know that I'm going to be able to help them in a situation where maybe otherwise they don't have the help. My mom and I, when we were being abused, we didn't have any help from anybody, not from anybody. I grew up around all the holy rollers in the Catholic Church, you know, all the big ones, man. And they always say, trust in God, trust in God. Yeah, I do trust in God, but these guys don't know. They don't know. What they trust in is the opposite of God. So they got Jesus hanging up there. They don't even have a clue. They don't even have a clue. I bet they wouldn't even be able to look into his eyes with the lives that they lead and the lies that they tell. I was exposed to that at an early age. Good. Made me into a warrior, you know? And then all the people that you assist in life, one after the other, you're doing something good. Does it earn you a seat in heaven? I don't even care. I don't care. What difference does it make? You know, because I know this is hell. I'm existing. You know what? Life is hard. Life is hard for most people, I think. Certainly. It's people that have it way worse than I do. And I think about that every day. I pray for them every day. I think about that every day. I do everything that I can to help as much as I can, you know. But that brings me joy. Other stuff brings me joy too. The little things, right? The little things. Nice sunset is joy, you know? I don't know. A lot of little things. We're all different, but we all have some of the same likes and dislikes, right? But then we go down to understanding, right? We're sinking lower. But still, understanding peak performance without stress when you understand something. Like work, right? You've been trained. Then they throw you in something totally different. Maybe that training is a little quick. Maybe it's a little fast. Maybe you didn't grasp the entire thing. That could give you an unbelievable amount of stress, especially if they expect you to perform at a certain level, right? That happens to a lot of people, you know? So, but understanding people, other people, what other people are going through, trying to understand from their shoes what you're going through. If I'm talking to you and you're going through some trouble, I'm going to have more of an understanding. I was going to start taking live calls on the show tonight, man. You know what? And I bought a phone. I got it all running, set up the service, did the whole thing. Then I get a message from my carrier saying the phone's something wrong with the phone and whatever, and you got to bring it back to where you bought it from. Oh my God. It was a Motorola phone, and I didn't pay a ton of money for it because it's just an extra studio phone, you know. But I paid enough for it, and now I have to go through a whole hassle. It's the second Motorola phone I ever bought in my life. I think I bought one like 10 years ago, and that didn't work, and I had to bring that back. So it used to be a good company. It used to be a really good company, Motorola, like a great company, reliable equipment. Now it's junk, it's crap. It's just crap. They sell out to these foreign manufacturers. A lot of them is just cheap stuff, cheap crap. So whatever, man. That's it. I learned my lesson. So I gotta get another one. different brand, Samsung or something. So anyway, understanding. It was frustrating being on the phone with my carrier today. It was frustrating going through the whole process of trying to set up the damn thing. It was frustrating. And then, yeah, I was like, I wasn't happy about it. I was on hold for a long time. And then these customer service answers. And then I start telling them what the deal is. And then I swear they hung up on me. I swear that they play that game. They hung up on me. And then I'm like, oh man, I got to call back. So that was 2 hours out of my life that I didn't need. Too stressful, not worth it. So, lesson learned. Right? No more Motorola. No more. I understand that. That's understanding. I understand that the bear needs to eat, and that's why it came around. I understand that the bear could probably mangle me very easily. I also understand that I'm heavily armed. so there's that too. But I don't want to hurt. I'm not there to hurt God's creatures, man. I'm not there to do that. So, I mean, you got to protect yourself against anything. I fear more about people than a bear, right? And I understand that. I understand that. And then forgiveness, optimism, trust, and courage. Courage. It's a word you don't even hear anymore, right? Courage. And what is courage anyway? I've known some courageous people. My friend April, who lost her life last year after a long health battle. I'm friends with her and her husband. Just Facebook friends, but still, it's like friends. We talked every day. They live out west, in Wyoming. And then she was always going to the hospital, always, being airlifted up, or they have to go long and far of where they are to get to a hospital. That type of thing. But she kept being funny. She kept her sense of humor. She kept laughing and laughing at things. And man, I respected that. The only other person I've known that was that strong and courageous is my mom. But what do you do? I mean, it's not a situation like, let's say you get cancer, right? It's not a situation that you choose necessarily. You're not saying, okay, I want to get cancer so I can face this adversity. It's thrust upon you, and it's how you react. Some people can fold up and fall apart. Some people will fight it, do what the doctor tells them to do. Sometimes that might be right. Sometimes it might be wrong. I learned that second and third opinions are really, really important when you're talking about life and death situations, right? Make sure the hospital is not after your money. Then make sure that they want to treat you, right? Make you better. Try to make you better. So neither of these people, April or my mom, ever gave up. They never shut down. They never, I mean, they just worked and fought right till the last day. But some people shut down, and then that's when you're down, it's hard to get up. When you're down, things will seem heavier, worse. And then once you start experiencing those negative feelings, that could be overwhelming, completely overwhelming. So forgiveness. You got to forgive yourself You didn't do it, but you forgive yourself anyway. People that hurt you, whatever, you didn't do it. It's like people who talk about God and you must worship God, worship, It's just blind faith worship, 100%. Got to do it. Can't not do it. Right? If you don't do it, you go to hell. So I don't ever remember the God or creator or whatever saying any of this stuff, right? I read the Bible, the Old Testament, which is also the Jewish Bible, and the New Testament, which a lot of people, many people, don't even believe in. They believe it was written for a particular reason or reasons, but not truth telling as truth telling could be. I'm not saying there's no truth in there. I'm saying that the things they wanted to make good, they did. The things that the entities that were in control, right? So anyway, forgiveness. Because people do terrible things. People do terrible things, sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose, sometimes without thinking about it, sometimes they did think about it, sometimes they plotted and planned it. At the end of the day, it still all has the same end point, right? Is the action, what happens, Doesn't matter why. In some instances, maybe not others, but it still happened. So you need to forgive yourself because no creator would ever make you with a narcissistic attitude saying, now I made you, so you have to obey me and you have to, worship me every day. Worship me because I made you. We want to say, hey, God, you made me, then you got to provide what I need, right? You've got to be able to help me when I need you to help me, because you've made other people too that make life difficult. So it's respect. I don't think any creator would create anything. It's like you've got kids. You don't want your kids to worship you. You want them to respect you, right? And respect each other. And you're happy when they do. When they do, you're happy. You're happy you seeing them work together and be there for each other. Makes you feel kind of settled, But sometimes forgiveness is hard, man. Sometimes forgiving people is hard. Some people don't deserve forgiveness. And I mean, you have to forgive the action in between, but you don't have to like say they get a pass, because they've done terrible things. They've got to live in their own skin, but you make the choice if you want to be around that or not. Right? Because if you are around that, the same thing is going to happen to you. They're going to do the same thing. They're not going to change. Right? They're going to be exactly the same. I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. Of course they will. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it in the first place. Right? And you know that about them. So you forgive yourself for allowing that to happen in a weird way. Like, there are some people who stay in abusive relationships. And they, some people can't leave, but some people can. But they stay. And why do they stay? It's a whole bunch of different reasons, right? But that person who abuses them, they got the same spiel. Oh, I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. Never do it again. You believe it? You believe they would never do it again? Because we've seen opposite in our lives, right? So the next level. Well, we didn't talk about optimism, man, or trust. Trust can't be won back. Once you lost someone's trust, they may change their opinion. They may trust you a little bit, but there's always going to be that level of loss of trust, right? Trust too much, then that's a whole different world. Trust. I have a real hard time trusting people. Really hard. But I trust my, you know what I do? I trust my gut instincts. I trust my gut because it doesn't lie to me. So that's the trust that I have of who I want to deal with and what. And if I go against that trust and then people screw me over, I know that my feeling was right. So, and I learned that lesson. So that's trust to me. And then optimism, being optimistic. You could be optimistic, you could be pessimistic, right? Optimism can carry you a long distance. Pessimism can destroy you. It could cause a fault in your doing things, trying to achieve things, right? If you're too pessimistic, but sometimes you have to be. So it's a mix. You can't be all the way optimistic. You can't be all the way pessimistic. You need to have a balance between the two. And that carries you through life, and then you use it like a tool, right? It's kind of like your paranoia that lives on your shoulder, you know, and then is always going to tell you about you're you're a slob, you're ugly, you're not this, you're not that, you can't, you'll always fail, and whatever. And then you got the dude on the other side saying you're gorgeous, you're great, you're great at everything you do. People are lucky to have be around you, right? So it's a battle between the two because they're both right and they're both wrong, you know, and also it depends on the situation. But I like to be optimistic, but my optimism isn't unrealistic. There's hopes, dreams, things like that. But sometimes you got to bring that pessimism. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I gotta see. I don't know. Right. So then we move down to the hyperactivity level. We got past all the good stuff on the pyramid. And what's on that level? Pride. Pride. You think that pride, a lot of people think pride is a good thing, right? Being proud. What are you proud of? You got black pride, white pride. You proud you're born black? You're proud you're born white? Doesn't really make sense. You be proud that you've done great things. You're proud that you work for great goals. Proud that you're a good person. Proud that you're a caring person. Doesn't your great deeds don't have to be huge and almighty? You don't have to run to a burning house and save a family or something like that. It could just be something simple, a daily, simple, little tiny thing that you're proud about, or proud of a talent that you've developed. Proud, you learn how to play some instrument or done something or whatever. There's achievement. Pride is like achievement. You're going to be proud because you're Italian or Irish. You're going to be proud because of some ethnicity. That's fine. But you're dividing yourself against other people because we're all people. It doesn't really matter. What if you're Irish? Doesn't matter. You're Italian. Doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're from Asia. It doesn't matter. It just matters what kind of person you are. You are what you do. Take pride, but pride can bring all kinds of bad things. That's why it's hyperactivity. That's why it's out of the zone. It's a negative thing. Pride is a negative thing, right? Anger. Ugh. People who are angry. I know people who like walk around straight up angry all of the time. They simmer. They idle at angry. They amp all the way up. And I love to rattle people like that. It's part of my crazy personality. I got the same kind of personality as a cat, I think. Ever see a cat kill a mouse, like kind of play with it for a while and torture it and kind of just look at it and torture some more and look at it and torture it? That's kind of me at times. But anger, you don't want to be an angry soldier. You don't want to be an angry fighter. You don't want to be an angry warrior. You don't want to be angry anyway. I know people that walk around pissed off at other people. I'm like, do they know that you're mad at them? No. So you're just mad for the sake of being mad. Your stomach's a big knot, ball in your stomach. You can't sleep, messing you up. And the other person doesn't even know. That just was always funny to me. Like, you're not telling somebody, like, hey, man, I'm upset with you because of whatever. And then you can try to work things out. You get into a level of forgiveness, optimism. Lift yourself out of it. No, I'm mad. I'm mad. Like all the people with that Trump derangement syndrome, man. The ones who really hate him. And I know people. I got friends from kindergarten that hate the guy. I never liked Trump anyway. So it doesn't matter to me if they can hate him or not. I just think it's kind of funny. And they walk around mad, yelling, screaming, flipping out. Some people are attacking each other because of that, or they're attacking the MAGA people wearing MAGA hat. This guy's so stupid. Humans, have never really evolved past that point of just like, what's a good word for it? Infancy. You know what I mean? Like, grow up, man. Grow up and understand the world. Grow up. Stop hating on people because it's stupid politics. Used to be people didn't even talk about politics. Used to be people kind of like, if you voted for someone, that was like secret stuff, man. It wasn't something you want to share with others. I voted for so and so because of blah 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 blah. No, who'd you vote for? None of your business. Voted for your mama. Come over and make me some hot cocoa. What'd you vote for? Shut up. Shut up. I voted for the best person I thought that should be in this. So ha. Anger. All right. Desire. Wow. Lao Tzu, Chinese philosopher, said there's no greater curse than desire. No greater discontent than wanting something for oneself. Whoo! The devil in the crossroads, man, said nothing is ever as good as we want it to be. You believe that? Depends what your expectations are, man. Desire. Yeah, desire can bring all kinds of bad stuff to your front door, And we see it from rich to poor and whatever. We see it in religions. We see it. We see it all. I mean, we see it. Their desire. Why does the Catholic Church have so much gold and jewels and all these things that are really just trinkets? But the blood of people doesn't matter. The paintings, the gold, the diamonds, the jewels. You can sell a little bit and feed the world over and over and over again. Build houses for people around the world. Right? The Vatican City's got catacombs, rooms and rooms and rooms under the Vatican full of riches and paintings and priceless works of art. They hide it. in these rooms. They hide it. Why is that? Rich church bank? Yeah. Desire. Got Jesus up there with a gold this and gold that. And dude didn't even have a mule, if you know. If he didn't even have a mule. He wasn't in a Mercedes Pope Mobile driving around. Hey, people cheering. Nope. So, yeah, desire. No greater curse than desire. Man, that's the damn truth. I think we all have many stories that can corroborate of where we went wrong because of desire, right? Then we get down to the lower level. Inertia. The lowest negative area you can get to. Fear. What is fear? Fear is a feeling. You can feel hot, you feel cold, you feel all kinds of physical stuff. Fear is a feeling, can trigger all kinds of emotions, can stop you from doing something, can stop you from greatness. Personal greatness can stop you from doing anything and anything if you're afraid. But what are you afraid of? Failing? How many inventors out there failed hundreds, if not thousands of times? Imagine if they were afraid to go do what they did. Imagine if they didn't want to continue. They're afraid. Do you think fear can ever be a good thing? I think it can. I think that it can make you aware of your surroundings. I think that you can get over that fear and be more alert and wise. Like when that bear was outside the other night, I wasn't afraid because I was like, "Ooh, look at that cute bear." I was even thinking about, man, it would be a nice little pet. Wasn't 500 pounds. Cat food is expensive enough. It was more about being alert that, yeah, the thing could, anything could happen. There wasn't being aggressive, but, a large animal can do anything, right? But fear can ruin your life, you know? Fear is the mind killer. It's the creativity killer. It's the thing that will stop you from being you, from your God-given talents, the things that you can do, right? What's next is grief. You would think grief, yeah, grief is a low level vibration. Grief. You have to grieve. Someone dies, you have to grieve. There's different stages to grieving. You read about it. I read about it all when my mom died. But really, you have to just get through it. And by getting through it, and I turned my back on people. I got rid of friends that I cared about, whatever. I kind of just shoved everybody out the door. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care if I lived or died. I just felt like, what's the point? What's the point? Right? The hell is the point of anything? Right? In religion, they tell you, oh, you suffer, 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 then go to heaven, if you're, as long as you don't do anything bad, okay. But what's the point? The daily life. What's the point of the struggle? What's the point of the fight? There is a point. You know what the point is? The point is that we need to learn to love in this world, and we need to learn how to respect ourselves, and we need to learn how to push forward through adversity to prepare us for the next level and that next level and that next level. And that's courage and that's strength, right? It's not anger. It's not desire. It's not pride. It's not fear. It's not grief. Grief happens because of our loss, but they don't, like I said before, that person, you lost, they don't want you to feel that. They don't want you to feel bad. They want you to live your life and be happy. They know that they're not there for you anymore, but they're always around. The ones that love you, always around. One way or the other. You know that. You should know that. Right? Then we move down to apathy. Look at these words: apathy, guilt, shame, grief, fear, guilt. Isn't that the old religion? Wants you to be guilty. You need to be guilty for your sins. But those sins are really created by the religion, right? And there's the big sins. You don't hurt other people, don't hurt animals. I believe in all that. But they got very man-made. Religion doesn't really focus on the spirit, does it? Focuses on the man-made. They want money from you. They want to threaten you so you can give them money. Catholic Church has indulgence. They brought back indulgence after it was gone for a long time. Indulgence is where you can basically pay your way out of any sin that you do with money and a bunch of Hail Marys, Holy Ghosts, and whatever they tell you to do. And they'll tell you that it's not like that, but it's certainly like that. If you know anything about them and their cult and their what they do, you definitely know about indulgence, right? Guilt and shame and apathy. Shame on you. I knew a Nassau County District Attorney on Long Island for many years who lived in my town. I knew his kids a little bit, go to school, and I'd see him around, and a nice guy, always happy to talk, have a conversation, which was cool. And like there's a couple things that he's said to me that always stuck. He was Nassau County DA for I don't know how many years until he was in his 70s, man. I mean, so he kept everything. He kept the county as safe as can be. I mean, he was a great district attorney. Anyway, he said, "Don't do anything you're going to be ashamed of." Like that's very okay. Don't do anything I'm going to be ashamed of. If you're ashamed of what you're doing, don't do it. So guilt. Have you ever felt guilt? I have. I felt guilt. All kinds of stuff, man. Ran over a cat by accident in Queens. I felt terrible about that. Nothing I could do. Ran out from under a car. Like when I ran right under my car, man. There was nothing I could do. And it's just stuff like that happens. You feel guilty about it, but it wasn't something that I did. Like, oh, I'm going to run over this cat. It was just something that happened. That shouldn't have happened. It was terrible, but it did happen. But guilt for other people doing things and whatever. I'm not someone who hurts other people. I'd have to really think of those instances if it's something that I'm sitting around. Oh, I feel guilty about this. Feel guilty about that. Yeah. Life is life. I think I treat everybody pretty much the same, decently. If people act, in a way that I don't want to be around, I'm not around them. So that's pretty simple. But guilt can bring people. Guilt can destroy people. It brings people to a lot of places. It also can create more of a problem for people that are trying to cover up things that they've done as they're guilty. If you're guilty, just turn yourself in. That's all. Get it out of the way. Don't feel guilt. But yeah, it's more about forgiveness. You got to, from guilt, you got to go back to forgiveness. That if something happens between two people, there should be a conclusion of forgiveness. on some level. And shame on you to be ashamed of yourself. Shame for what? You know what I mean? Like shame is another one of those words that are kind of funny to me. Like like I just said before about being ashamed. Don't do things that you're ashamed of, or it's more like don't do things that you shouldn't be doing because it doesn't feel right. Go back to Lao Tzu. Do what feels right. Don't do what feels wrong. Now, if you're a messed up person, it might feel right to hurt other people, but I'm not talking about them. You're in a certain category there. Just everyday, regular people, right? How does this feel to me? Does it feel right? You know, I think most people, given the chance, they do the right thing. I like to think that. I think some people do the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, and then they get stuck into a situation that they can't get out of, and then that's it. It just goes off from there. But anyway, if you want to feel that peace, you want to work for those upper levels. You want to stay away from all the heavy stuff. You want to stay in that joy, gratitude, love, understanding, forgiveness, optimism, trust, courage. Right? I'm going to show you this bear. Where's my bear? And I am a bear type of person. But where the hell is he? There he is. And I kind of felt that I was going to see a bear at some point because I know that there's bears around. And I put bird feed out and everything else comes. Look at this little guy. Isn't that adorable? I think it is, man. That's adorable right there. Look at that. Look at those ears. Come on. You see, he had that bird feeder in his paw. It's a gigantic paw with his little claws on there. Bending the metal pole to the bird feeder, just not even like meaning to do it. He's just kind of holding on to the bird feeder. How strong they are, oh my God. And gentle, because that bird feeder's still there. You didn't pull it down. You could have pulled it down and destroyed it and then dumped all the seeds out on the ground and whatever. He was like just real gentle and kind of licking the seeds here and there. Big giant bear. I love that. A lot of my friends think I live in a zoo. I got the zoo going on here. But I'm waiting on the bobcat. We got bobcats around here. I'm waiting on the bobcat. I'm waiting on coyotes. I've seen, of course, they're all around. You got turkeys, so the turkeys are going to bring the bobcat and everything. There's deer. The deer are going to bring the bobcat, whatever. So that's what the deal is. But the bears, I have never in 30 years here, like in this area in central New York, the Finger Lakes, I have never, ever, never seen a bear. I've heard about it. We had a house that the bear, I was asleep. The bear, got to the bird feeder in the backyard and snapped a big wooden pole in half, like one of those huge fence pole type of things. Snapped it in half like it was nothing. And my neighbors saw the bear out of their window and they were flipping out. They're like, "Oh, a bear." So I heard about it. And nobody had cell phones back then, so it wasn't like we got 15 pictures of a bear. But and this thing wasn't aggressive. Look at his little face. He's kind of just looking at me. He was more of like nervous because I was shining a flashlight on him. He was nervous. And then he walked away. So, but we got to help nature and take care of nature when we can. I feed the birds in the wintertime. And I do it because one, is good to do, and you're helping nature. You know what I mean? Helping hand. We're here to help each other. These birds, without a water source or a food source, they do, they're hurting, and a lot of their their population starts to dwindle locally. You know what I mean? And they're birds. I mean, I know they're gonna find other food at some point, whatever. But in the wintertime, you give them those black oiled sunflower seeds and unsalted peanuts. Is what I give them, raw peanuts, and it gets them through. And then you know what they do? They in the spring they build nests around your home. They're in the area. And then all summer long, spring, summer, fall, they're eating insects and that type of thing. So it's good for the ecosystem. It's good for you. I like the bird song in the morning and at night, even during the day. There's so many different species of birds. Look at them all. The raccoons that show up, the skunks that show up. There's a raccoon out there right now looking at me. But nature, you know what I mean? Nature. The bear, yeah. Am I keeping one eye open? When I go out to my car at night, I was just gonna walk out and bring the garbage cans in, and then that's when I was like, oh, there's a bear. There's a bear outside. Look at that. Look at that. It's cute though. Come on, man. Look at his little face. Look at that. Look at that little face. Oh, look at the little eyeballs looking at me. Little nose, little giant paw. Those ears. Come on, how can you be afraid of something with these ears? This is so damn cute. Come on, man. I like a bear. Give me some bear. Yeah. Anyways, you guys, I know we're having fun, man. This raccoon looking at me right now. I see you. I see you eating those seeds, man. So a bear might come around, who knows? But and all the neighbors, everybody, you know what? Everybody in the whole area is like, "Ooh, a bear is so cute." So they're not like, "Ah, bear." You never, ever, never, 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 ever hear about a bear attack around here. The last story I saw from last year, last bear, local bear that was in the news, had his head stuck in a milk can from a farm, like one of those big metal milk cans. And then they had to like get the milk can off the bear's head safely, so they didn't hurt the bear, and they did. So yeah, it's kind of stuff like that. But anyway, hope you guys had a good time tonight on the show, and I'm going to see about getting that damn phone thing together, man. It's a pain in the ass. Because now they got to go to the store. The store's a half hour away. I got to go do that crap and then throw my time away doing that. Going in the damn store, I don't want to do that either. To go to customer service, I don't want to do that either. I don't want to stand in line. I don't want to be in that store. I don't want to be there. Yeah. You know what I mean? I learned my lesson. Don't buy Motorola. Don't ever buy Motorola. It is junk. How can someone within 10 years buy two Motorola phones and both of them have something severely wrong with them? So, yeah, that just goes to show you it's just junk. So, anyway, I'm going to see you guys next week on the show, man. Hope you had a good time. Tune into UFO Undercover every Wednesday. Tune into News on the Flip Side every Friday. The chat every Saturday. And, of course, my show after the chat right here. I'll see you guys next week on the show. Bye.